This is your sign to leave the UK now. The budget has just been released and it is ridiculous. Let me break down some of the main things that will affect you. Number one, taxes are increasing. Government have frozen income tax thresholds all the way until 2030. The more inflation rises, the more your taxes are gonna rise now. If you're putting money into a pension, they're taking money out of that too. National insurance tax has also been attacked. If you bought an electric car, you're gonna have to pay per mile in 2028. All of your services are now gonna be a lot more expensive. Simple, working people pay more. Saving becomes difficult. The squeeze becomes a bigger squeeze. Just leave the UK already.
The 2025 budget just dropped, and it's a full-on assault on workers, savers, drivers, and anyone trying to get ahead. Frozen tax thresholds until 2031, a stealth pay cut for millions, slashed cash ISAs, new national insurance on pension contributions, pay per mile coming for electric cars, and a fresh mansion tax on homes over £2 million. Labour promised no tax rises on working people. Today they broke that promise in broad daylight. Here's the brutal truth in plain English.
The next generation of retirees have already got it pretty tough. It's fair to say that it's going to be difficult for people looking to retire if you're my age or even younger. Now that has changed again now, so salary sacrifice has been impacted as a result of this budget. So let me explain it. Salary sacrifice means that you put money into your pension before any tax is paid from it. It's an incredible benefit that we're very lucky to have. Now what's going to happen going forward from April 2029, this is going to change if you are putting more than £2,000 into your pension. So if you are, for example, on £40,000 per year and you're putting 5% into your pension, as salary sacrifice, that's going to equate to £2,000. Now, any more than that you put in, you're going to get hit by additional national insurance contributions. It's anticipated it could raise as much as £2 to £4 billion for the government, but who's paying for it? You and I, unfortunately. I already believe that we're facing into a pension crisis at the moment. Don't forget that you're not paying into a pot that's going to pay you when you come to retire. People that are working now are paying for those that are retired now. So this is going to be an effective increase in the costs associated with putting money into a pension for anyone that falls above that threshold. Now, of course, the tax benefits are still incredibly good as a result of doing so, but you just need to monitor and have a look at what that impact might be for you if you fall within that category.
Come on then, let's do it. The budget, 2025, what you need to know. Income tax and national insurance threshold freeze extended to 2031. Tax-free cash ISAs. The cash ISA allowance will be cut from £20,000 to £12,000 a year, but over 65s will retain the full cash allowance. Two-child limit on benefits. Two-child limit on benefits will be scrapped from April 2026. Fuel duty freeze will be extended until September 2026. Pension contributions. National insurance will be charged on employees. Salary sacrifice pension contributions above £2,000. Electric vehicles, a big one. New pay per mile tax for electric vehicles. The eco energy scheme scrapped, cutting £150 from energy bills, says the government. Well, I don't believe a word they say, so that's out the window. I'm just going to ask this nicely. In all honesty, do some people think that that's a good budget? Do you think that's going to get the economy going, making people richer? Do you think it is good for Rachel Reeves to walk out of Downing Street with a big smile on her face and laughing at times? In this hard situation, this current climate we actually live in at this present time, you know energy bills are going to go up, food's going up. I've seen fuel prices creeping up. They've got up like 4 or 5p in the past week. Now taxes are rising again after they promised they wouldn't. They're breaking promises left, right and centre. And I know I'm pleading with people. Start to fully understand what this party are about. They don't care about you. They don't care about you struggling. They don't care. Just taxes after taxes after taxes. It's like they're looking after the complete and utter wrong people. And that's not fair in the slightest. Rishi Sunak warned us. He said taxes, they will rise your taxes. Now what the Tories did is unforgivable. Never forgive the Tories. But you just got to look at it and you go, they knew what they were talking about. This isn't a good budget. It's a disastrous budget. She should resign. Keir should resign. But guess what? They just think it's funny. That just sums it up. The Labour government for you people. They should never be in power ever again.
Everybody's favourite economist and the Chancellor of the Exchequer has finally announced the budget. So I thought I'd summarise the top 5 things that I think are going to affect the most number of people in the UK. Number 1, income tax thresholds have remained frozen. Yay, it hasn't decreased. No, it hasn't increased. Keeping these frozen mean more and more people are going to go into these brackets. More on this when we come to minimum wage. This is that thing that people call fiscal drag. But 2, the national living wage has increased, raising by 4.8% from April 2026. So yeah, more people are going to be taxed more. Even though they've got a higher income, they're going to hit those tax thresholds. Number 3, one that most people anticipated, the cash ISA allowance has been slashed from 20,000 to 12,000. Thank God the stocks and shares ISA was left untouched. Before the two-child benefit cap has been abolished, regardless of how many kids you have, you will be entitled to child benefit for all of them. And number 5, it is a wealth tax on people with properties worth over £2 million and then over £5 million, an additional £2,500 and £7,500 per year, respectfully. Now, even though that doesn't affect the vast majority of people, I think it's an indication of where we're going to go in the future. What are your thoughts on the budget? Let me know.
Simply explain today's budget for everyday families so they actually understand it without all the jargon, because there's been big changes today. I've done a few videos and the budget has actually landed. And here, what you need to know if you've got kids or you rely on benefits, it's been crazy because it got leaked early. Everyone was going crazy about it, but let's cut that. Here we go. So here are the headlines to today's budget, guys. Number 1, the 2 benefit cap for children has been scrapped. So if you've got 3 or more children, you'll once again get full universal credit or tax credit support for every child. This is expected to lift hundreds of thousands of children out of poverty, rightfully so, and it should be starting from April from what we hear. Number 2, benefit and support payments are being uprated. So the government has confirmed changes to welfare to improve support for families. Number 3, some taxes, guys, are going up or they're holding firm in a way that will affect take-home pay. So income tax threshold will be frozen through to 2030 to 2031. This means wage rises with inflation, more people could be pushed into paying higher tax or paying, pushed into paying higher tax, basically. Number 4, the new tax burden for some. There are new taxes or higher taxes planned on certain types of income, like dividends, property, and savings income, which could affect anyone with side incomes or investment, like the Infinity and the eBays and stuff like that. Number 5, no big fixes for public services or send support, so the system is going to stay fragile, guys. Despite the benefit changes, there's no guarantee of extra funding for social care, special educational needs, send local authorities or send services, or extra school support for families who rely on these services. Pressure remains high, guys. So bottom line for families is if you have 3 or plus children, you're likely to see more benefit support coming soon, which could ease everyday pressure. If you depend on benefits like universal credit, disability living allowance, or child element, there's some relief, but also uncertainties because of a wider tax and spending pressures. If you count on public services like send support, social care, specialist schools, or similar services, don't expect big improvements. Services are still going to be struggling. Many families will feel a mix of a bit more cash in hand, but still uncertainty around cost, services, and long-term support, guys. So let me know if you need me to break it down any further, because there are winners and losers from the budget, especially people with children, low income, or send. I've done a full blog post today over at Ask Ellie. You can do this by coming over to askellie.co.uk or coming onto my bio, clicking on my link tree, and you'll be able to go over to the more resources page and get what we would used to call the idiot's guide to the budget today. And you can read all about it. It makes it nice and easy. If this affects you or it doesn't, let us know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next video.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves has officially scrapped the 2-child benefit limit. What does this mean for families in the UK?
Well, essentially what this means is an additional £3,000 for low-income families. I have seen headlines saying that it's an additional 20 grand for some families, and it is for some families, particularly those larger ones. But it's not an extra amount, it's that families have been without that for years, since it was introduced under the Conservatives. Lifting the 2-child limit on benefits is the quickest way the Chancellor can pull children out of poverty. It's estimated that around 350,000 children will be immediately lifted out of poverty as a result of this measure.
This is really good news because it's going to go a long way to starting to reverse the erosion of social security for working age families that we've seen over the last decade. However, after today's budget, there will still be millions of children growing up in poverty, so there's more to do. Big issue would like to see in the child poverty strategy, which we think is coming next week, for the government to set child poverty targets. We want them to be legally binding, and that is going to go a really long way to helping us be able to track progress on child poverty and hold the government to it.
So there's been a number of tax changes from the budget today, one of them being the reduction of the cash ISA limit from £20,000 down to £12,000. This isn't a surprise, as people were speculating that this was going to happen, but now it's confirmed that it will take place from 2027. Now, if you're over 65, this doesn't affect you. Main justification as to why the government has done this is because they want to increase and encourage people investing. They say to encourage investing in Britain, but there's 2 major points they're missing with this. Just because you reduce people's ability to save in a cash ISA doesn't automatically mean that people's risk appetite suddenly changes and that they're going to invest all of that excess into stocks and shares instead. And then equally, in a stocks and shares ISA, you can invest in numerous different instruments, stocks and shares, and there is absolutely no incentive for people to start investing in the FTSE 100 or other British-backed companies. All in all, I think a pretty pointless change for what they're trying to achieve. It's not going to suddenly make more people start investing. I think that's going to come from financial literacy and following people like me. If you're new here, my name's Charlie. I'm an award-winning chartered tax advisor, and I'm breaking down all of the announcements from the budget so you know exactly what it means for you. Hope you enjoyed this video and follow along for more.
I see that there's nothing that we've seen so far about any reduction in the burgeoning welfare bill. We've got a welfare bill that's nudging 100 billion. She's going to add another 18 billion to that today, we believe. And there's no attempt to cut that. And what this looks like to a lot of people is that she is rewarding shirkers, not workers. And I think that's absolutely true. I think she's going to punish the working and the middle classes in order to pay for welfare, which is out of control.
Welfare meaning the two-child benefit cap being lifted.
Yes.
An increase in benefits annually.
Don't go back.
4%.
Let's talk about the benefit cap. That is the estimate. If you have 6 kids, you're going to get an extra 14 grand a year when this cap is lifted. That is outrageous. I don't want to pay for other people's kids. I really don't. And I think there'll be millions of people around this country that won't want to pay for them.
So let's run through the big changes announced in the budget today in simple English and what they mean if you're a higher earner. First up, taxes. A lot of the action is happening quietly. The government is freezing income tax thresholds for several more years. That means as your pay goes up, more of it gets taxed, even though the rates haven't changed. It's a big reason why the overall tax burden is rising. Next up, pensions. Salary sacrificed will be capped from 2029. So after £2,000 a year, you'll pay full national insurance on any extra pension contributions you sacrifice from your salary. This makes saving for retirement more expensive, especially for people who use salary sacrifice to plan ahead. There's also a change to ISAs. The cash ISA limit is being cut from £20,000 to £12,000. Over 65s keep the full allowance, but everyone else has less room for safe savings. The idea is to push more people into investing, although cutting a savings limit doesn't magically make investing feel safer. Then we have property. So a new council tax surcharge will apply to homes worth over £2 million. It's being talked about as a mansion tax. This will hit homeowners who are asset rich, but potentially cash poor, especially older people in high value areas. Dividend taxes are also rising. An extra 2 percentage points will be added to taxes on dividends, savings income and property income. That squeezes small business owners who pay themselves through dividends. And finally, spending. The government is putting more money into councils, reversing some cuts to benefits and removing the 2-child limit for universal credit. All of this billions and sits alongside higher taxes. So the takeaway is that this budget raises money through a mix of frozen thresholds, higher taxes on investment income and limits on pension perks. If you're a higher earner, you'll feel it pay, pensions and investments.
Something big just happened in this budget and most people won't realise it until their pay slip tells them. Let me break it down in normal English. The government has frozen income tax thresholds all the way to 2030. That means your wages rise with inflation, the taxman takes more of it. Nothing dramatic on paper, but in real life, it's a slow pay cut for anyone who works. And yes, minimum wage is going up to around £12.70 an hour, but a lot of that rise gets eaten straight back up through higher effective tax. You feel like you're earning more, but your take home barely moves. If you save or put money into a pension, you get hit too. Salary sacrifice over £2,000 a year now attacks national insurance. ISAs and other saving perks are being tightened. It's just got harder to build a safety net or get ahead. Property owners aren't off the hook either. Homes over £2 million get a new surcharge. Small groups, sure, but these things don't stay at the top forever. Electric cars, gambling, a bunch of small duties, all ticking up. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Quiet, technical, but very real. There were a couple of positives. Fuel duty frozen, rail fares frozen, and the 2-child benefit cap is gone. A lifeline for many families. But if you zoom out, the story is simple. Working households pay more. Savings become harder and the squeeze tightens without being called a squeeze. Does this budget help the people doing the actual graft in this country, or is it just another reshuffle on the same bench? You tell me. Fire off in the comments.
What am I getting so worked up about? I'm sure that by tomorrow, this whole ugly mess will be a funny memory.
Our top story tonight. Was this the worst budget ever?
Hey everyone, this is the People's Broker, and this is a quick recap of much anticipated, much awaited, much speculated, and in the end, leaked 25 autumn budget. I'm going to first focus on the 4 big announcements. Freeze on income tax thresholds, increase in tax on income from dividends, property, and savings of 2%, removal of 2-child benefit cap, and one of the biggest announcements, which has been talked about for a long time, is a new tax on properties over £2 million. So properties over £2 million will pay an annual tax of £2,500, and properties worth over £5 million will pay an annual tax of £7,500. Some of the other announcements: reducing the writing down of allowance on corporation tax, a mileage-based tax on electric vehicles, reduction to capital gains tax relief, fuel duty to increase from 26, no cuts to winter fuel allowance, changes to cash ISAs and the contribution you can make tax-free, national insurance on your pension contributions, training for under 25s will be free for SMEs, lower tax rates for retail, hospitality, and leisure properties, and scrapping of the eco-energy scheme, which should save households an average of £150 a year. So guys, those were some of the big announcements from today's budget. Let me know your thoughts. Was it good? Was it bad? Quite a bit to speculate, quite a bit to talk about. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.
इलेक्ट्रिक और हाइब्रिड गाड़ियों पर भी नया टैक्स आयद कर दिया गया है और इसका जो इतलाक है वो 2028 से होगा, जब फी माइल गाड़ियों को टैक्स अदा करना पड़ेगा। जो फ्यूल प्राइस है उसको फ्रीज कर दिया गया है अगले चंद सालों के लिए, और हुकूमत ने जो इलेक्ट्रिक कार स्कीम है उसके लिए 1.3 बिलियन पाउंड्स भी अनाउंस किया है उसकी मद में, ताकि लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कार्स हैं उनकी जानिब माइल हो। और फ्यूल जो है, जो पेट्रोल से चलने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, हुकूमत ये चाहती है कि आइंदा आने वाले दिनों में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो लोग हैं वो इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ियों की तरफ राग़िब हों, नई गाड़ियां लें, और इस स्कीम के लिए उन्होंने 1.3 बिलियन पाउंड्स की जो रकम है वो मुख्तस की है इस बजट के अंदर।
Here's how Rachel Reeves' budget affects Gen Z and what it means for your money, your job prospects and your future. Income tax and national insurance thresholds are frozen until 2031. That means as your pay rises, more of it gets taxed. For young workers, small pay rises may not stretch as far as it should. Fuel duty is frozen again, but with rent, food and bills still rising, young people will still feel under pressure. From April 2026, the national living wage will increase for over 21s to £12.71 an hour, while pay for young workers aged 18 to 20 will rise to £10.85 an hour. This means more money in your pocket if you work part-time or in an entry-level role. Support for apprenticeships and early careers is continuing, but rising costs mean your pay still may not go as far as you expect. There are no new major housing fixes in this budget, and for many renters, housing will continue to take up the biggest chunk of their income. The annual cash ISA allowance will reduce from £20,000 to £12,000 a year from 2027. That means less of your savings can grow completely tax-free. From 2029, pension contributions through salary sacrifice above £2,000 a year will start to face an extra tax, making pensions a little bit less generous for higher contributions. And that matters if you're thinking long-term about your future money. With tax thresholds frozen and savings rules tightening, Gen Z will have to be more intentional about budgeting, saving and investing than ever before. In short, these are the changes shaping young people's budgets and futures starting today.
So what is the reason as to why the government has reduced the cash ISA down to £12,000? Let me tell you why. So one of the main reasons as to why the government cut down the cash ISA allowance is because they want to push people to invest more and utilize their stocks and shares ISA. If you don't know what a stocks and shares ISA is, I will explain it very briefly. Basically, every year you have a limit of £20,000 in a stocks and shares ISA, meaning that any money that you put in to invest in a stock such as Nvidia, Amazon, Apple, whatever, if there are gains in that stock, that means that it is completely tax-free and you will be able to recoup all of that money. Now, regarding my opinion, I feel like this is the wrong way to go about this, mainly because it's going to anger a lot of people who just want to put their money in a cash ISA and they don't want to move to a stocks and shares ISA. I believe the right way to do this is through education. Educate the people saying, this is the reason why you should use a stocks and shares ISAs. This is the benefit. This is how your money will grow. Also, notify them about the risk, saying that yes, your investments can go up or down. But I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you believe that this is the right method to get people into investing, or do you believe the government are doing it completely wrong?
So there it is. More money snatched from your wages, your pension, your savings, and soon your car, all to fund the biggest welfare expansion in years and a record-breaking tax burden. If you're a worker, saver, driver, or parent planning for the future, this budget didn't just squeeze you, it crushed you. The message from Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer is clear. Work harder, save smarter, and still get less. Is this the Britain you want to stick around for? You tell me.